Hello students, today we will study the synopsis of the relations and functions. Okay, as we have already studied the relations and functions in first PUC, the more detailedly we have the same chapter to the extension level, to the higher level in the second PUC. We will study the synopsis of relations and functions, okay, in this session. Okay, the first one, a relation f from a set A into B is called as a function or a mapping from A to B. If for each x belongs to A, there exists a unique element y in the set B, y belongs to B, such that the f from A to B, x comma y belongs to f, x comma y belongs to f. Before that, let us recall the definition of a relation. What is a relation? Right? If A is related to B, then we can say that elements of the A and elements of the set B are related by means of addition, subtraction, multiplication, or any other relation, right? And the A cross B is called the Cartesian product of the two non-empty sets, where A and B are the non-empty sets. That will give a universal relation between the set of elements. A universal relation. For example, if I say if A cross B is an universal relation, then the A cross B contains the set of all ordered pair elements x comma y such that x is an element of the set A and y is an element of the set B. You can see here that each element of the set A is related to almost a single element or one element of the set B, right? It means the x belongs to A is indicating that the first element of this ordered pair x comma y must be from the first set, and the second element y in this ordered pair must be from the second set B. It means each element of the set A are going to relate with one, or I can say some elements of the set B. Might not be all the elements of the set B are related, but provided each element of the set A are related to the set B. Therefore, I can define here that each element of the set A is related to every element of the set B. That's why I call it as a universal relation between the pair of two non-empty sets, right? For example, if I say set A equals to 1, 2 and set B equals to 0, 3, then the universal set A cross B will give rise to the set of all ordered pair elements, like 1 is related to 0 and 1 related to 3. Similarly, 2 related to 0 and 2 related to 3. You can see here that each element of the set A is related to every element of the set B. It means this set is a biggest, or I can say universal set. And such a relation is called a universal type of the relation. That is, if A cross B is generally called as a universal relation. What happened if A cross B contains no elements? It means 5, null set 5. What happened if A cross B contains null set 5? It means there are no elements either in A set, either the set A is a null set, or either the set B is a null set. A is null set or B is a null set, provided in some of the case might not be both are the null sets. It means A cross B equals to null set is called void relation between the pair of sets. Void relation, or I can say null relation, or I can say empty relation, because this is possible only in case of either the set A is empty or the set B is empty, or the set B is empty. Sometimes might not be both sets A and B are empty. A and B are empty. Okay, fine. Moving on. Look at the second definition. If f from A to B is a function If f from a to b is a function, then x comma y belongs to the given function f, then y is called image of x. We have just seen here that in the definition only we have seen here that x comma y is the element of the Cartesian product of the two non-empty sets, provided here x and y elements are there. Generally y are called images of the x. Y is called as the image of the x. Image of x. Y is called as the image of x. Image of x. So here each element which is related, which is there in the second position, or you can say second place in the ordered pair, are called as the images of the first element. Right? Images of the first element. Image, come to the point. Image of x, and x is called inverse image. Inverse image. I can say pre-image. I can say pre-image. I can say pre-image. Y is called image of x. X is called pre-image or inverse image or pre-image of y. It means both are related by means of mathematical condition, mathematical relations, and there is a relation, and each second element of the ordered pair is called image of x, or first element, and each first element in ordered pair is called as the pre-image or inverse image of the second element y. Moving on, third definition. There are different type of relations. We know that there are different type of relations: student-teacher relation, chalk piece and the class board relation, right? Computer and the laptop, or computer with the mouse relation, or keyboard and computer relation. Different relations. Customer and a salesman relation. There are different relations. Here also there exists a different types of the relation between the pair of the sets, pair of the non-empty sets, and I can call it as a function. So a mapping is a relation between the pair of elements of two different non-empty sets. The third definition will be the same. A relation from the set A into B is said to be a function or mapping. Function or mapping from A into B, that is the elements of A are related into the elements of the B, provided the x must be an element of A, implies f of x must be an element of B. It means if x is an element of A, then f of x must be an element of B, provided f of x1 equals to f of x2. That is for all x1 and x2 are the elements of the given set A, provided f of x1 and f of x2 are the any two functions, then f of x1 and f of x2 are nothing but same. It means image of the same element is unique. Image of the element is unique. Okay. So before going to that, we people know about the domain and range. The elements, the values which can be possibly substituted for any of the functions are generally called as the domain. What about the range? The range are the outcomes, the possible results which are going after substitution and after calculations. Then what are the results coming outside? They are collectively called as the range. Okay, the range. And you know that the domain of any function is the value provided to the function, and the range is the result, or I can say outcome of the function. Okay. And there are different functions whose domain and range are defined to be in a different way. There are trigonometric functions whose domains are the angles and the range are real numbers. There are inverse trigonometric functions whose domains are real numbers and the range are angles, the inclination, the angles. Similarly, here also there are different type of the relations will exist. First one you have studied about the universal relation. First one is A cross B. I said this as a universal relation. Second one is an empty relation, that is A cross B equals to the null set phi. A null set phi indicates there are no elements from A and B are related. There is no relation exists between the elements of A and the elements of B. Therefore, it's an empty relation. The third one third one is, what happened if the elements of the A is related by some specific means with the elements of the B? That is, I am talking about the elements like x comma x, the elements like x comma x, or the elements like y comma y, or the elements like z comma z. What happened if a Cartesian product of two sets, if a relation set contains such elements like x comma x, y comma y, or z comma z? So let me write the definition here, right? So if a function contains the elements like x comma x, y comma y, and z comma z, for each x belongs to x comma y comma z belongs to the given set A, non-empty set A, I can call this as the reflexive relation. I can call it as reflexive relation, right? Reflexive relation. I can call it as a reflexive relation here, right? Okay. Similarly, if a relation set contains the elements like x comma y and y comma x, you can note down this. If a relation set contains the elements like x comma y and y comma x, then what happened? Then such a relation x comma y and y comma x, as x is related to y, implies y is related to x. As x is related to y is related to x. It means the relation exists. I can call it as the symmetric type of the relation. Symmetric relation. Because the elements are symmetric to each other. You can observe here that x comma y implies y comma x. X comma y implies y comma x. That means that as x and y are related by means of x comma y, and y comma x also they are related. Okay. So here, as x comma y related to each other, provided y comma x must be element of the set R. That means in the relation set R, if the elements exist like x comma y and y comma x, I can say that the relation is symmetric type of the relation. Symmetric type of the relation. Next one. If a element exists in the relation set, if a elements exist like x comma y comma z, provided by, you observe here that if elements exist like x comma y and y comma z, provided that x comma z is also element of the same relation set. In this case, as x comma y comma z are the elements of the relation set R, provided x comma z is also the elements of the set R, then such a relation is called as the transitive relation. Such a relation is called as the transitive relation. Okay. So we have studied the three types of relation. One is a relation set which contains the elements like x comma x, or y comma y, or z comma z. The element which contains by like this. Second relation we have studied that the relation set R which contains elements like x comma y, that implies y comma x must be elements of the given relation set. Third one is the relation set which contains like x comma y comma z implies x comma z, right? So in this case, so we can observe that this is a reflexive type of the relation, this is symmetric type of the relation, this is the transitive type of the relation. Okay, so let us read the next definition. A function f from a to b, okay, a function f from a to b is a function, then A is called as a domain and B is called as a codomain. A is called as a domain, B is called as the codomain. Provided f of A equals to f of x. F of A is a set which contains the elements like the set of all f of x such that x is the element of A, then it is called as the range of f. As just I told you already, this is called as the range of the given function f. Next one. If A and B are the two finite sets, it means A and B contains countable number of elements, limited number of elements, the elements which can be taken count, right? So A and B are the finite sets, then the number of the functions that can be defined from A to B is n of A to the n of B to the power n of A. What do you mean by this n of B to the power n of A? Right? The total number of elements of the set B to the power total number of the elements of the set A. It means the number of elements of the set B and the number of elements of the set A decides the total number of the relations. For example, if n of A is 2 and if n of B is 3, then the total number of the relations, or I can say A cross B, then the Cartesian product or relation that exists is n of B to the power n of A, which is 3 to the power 2, which is 9. It means there are 9 elements in the form of ordered pair can exist in the relation set A cross B. In the relation set A cross B. It means that n of A to the power n of B indicates total number of the mapping of the elements of the set A with the elements of the set B. N of B to the power n of A. Alright? Next one. The function f from A to B, sixth one. The function f from A to B is said to be 1, 1. I already studied this. 1, 1 function or injection or injective function, sometimes injective, from A to B if different elements of the set A have different images in B. That is, I am going to talk about the 1, 1 type of the relation. 1, 1. Okay? You can think of the word 1, 1. The word 1, 1 itself telling that the relation between the pair of elements is unique. Yes, the word unique is very important. The word unique is very important. It means the unique relation exists between a pair of elements is called as the 1, 1 function, or is called as the 1, 1 function or injective function. Sometimes injection also will be used, right? So, if each element of the set A is uniquely related to the unique or each element of the set B, then such a function is called as the 1, 1 function. Such a function is called as the 1, 1 function. Okay? Next one, seventh one. A function f from A to B is 1, 1. The same definition is done in the form of mathematics. So it is said to be 1, 1, provided if x1, x2 are the two different elements, x1 is not equal to x2, and both are the elements of A. If both are taken from the set A and they both are different elements, then their image is also different. It means f of x1 is not equal to f of x2. F of x1 is not equal to f of x2 indicates that they are not same. They are different. They are different indicates the unique image exists between the pair of elements of the set A with the set B. It means there is no duplication of the images. There is no multiple relation exists between a pair of elements. Multiple relation. Don't forget this. Okay. Next one. Eighth one. A function f from A to B is 1, 1. Is 1, 1. If and only if f of x1 equals to f of x2. F of x1 equals to f of x2. That is, if they have the same images, f of x as x1 and x2 are the two different elements taken, but at the end what we are suggesting that the both functions are not different, they are same, it means unique image exists between the pair of elements of the set A and the set B. Next, 10th one, 9th, 8th one we don't want. This 9th is actually 9th one, we don't want. 10th one. Okay. A function f from A to B is said to be a surjective function or onto function. That is the next extremely important definition. A function f from A to B, I will write this f from A to B, f from A to B is said to be surjective function or onto function if and only if the f of A equals to B. F of A equals to B, or I can say that f of x equals to y, f of x equals to y, where x is element of A and y is element of B. Y is an element of B. Here, what this indicates that the function is onto. The function is onto. In the one function, I come here. In the one function, what we have supposed? We have supposed that two variables in the function, they are not having different images, they are having unique image, as f of x1 is equals to f of x2 represents that the image of the element of the set A is unique. It has not multiple relations with the different elements of the set B. Similarly here, f of x equals to y indicates that x equals to f inverse of y. This indicates that the pre-image of the element y, the pre-image of the element y, this element y is also unique. You see the magic. As we said that the images are uniquely existed, then in reverse way, in vice versa, the pre-images also unique. The pre-images also unique. It means f of x equals to y. It means f of x equals to y indicates that the pre-images of the elements of the second set B are also unique. And that is called onto function or surjection function or surjective function. Okay. Next one. Here, see here, it is symbolically written here. The 11th one is symbolically displayed here that what is the relation mathematically. Here the mathematical relation is a function f from A to B is onto O if and only if f of x equals to y. One more time, so mathematically he has displayed. In the 10th, he has just given a definition. In the 11th, it has been mathematically displayed that f of x equals to y is the definition of the onto function. Okay. So in this chapter, basically we will come across with the three main definitions. Either the function contains the elements which are there in the reflexive or symmetric or transitive. After that we have an important definition of one function and the onto function. Then after that the function comes to the inverse. Okay. So as the elements exist in the relation set, the inverse of the elements also exists. Right? So it is very important to know that as the elements exist in any relation functions in the form of ordered pair, their inverse also exists. And next one. There are some more points written here. You can read on the board. The function f from A to B is 1 and onto. Okay. The next definition is the important one. Okay. Please read on this. A function which is 1 and onto. A function which is 1 and onto both at the same time. That is, if a function exists, the definition of 1. If a function holds the 1 definition and onto definition at the same time, then such a function is called bijective function. Bijective function or 1 onto function. bijective function or 1 onto function, right? So they are called as the bijective function or 1 onto function, right? Remember this one. So the 14th one, right? 14th one is the function f from a to b is said to be 1 onto function if and only if it is 1 and onto both. You can read here that it is displayed on the board that this is the 1 definition, this is onto definition, and definitely a function f which holds both the definitions, which holds both the definitions, is definitely said to be a bijective function or 1 onto function, bijective function or 1 onto function. Next one is 15th, you can read. If A and B are the two finite sets, and if A and B are the two finite sets, and the total number of elements of the set A and the number of elements of the set B are same, that is n of A equals to n of B, that is n of A equals to n of B. If n of A equals to n of B exists, this one exists, then the number of the bijections that can be formed from the set A to B is always n of A factorial. N of A factorial. This is a very extremely important point. You can note on this. Okay. If the number of elements of the set A and number of elements of the set B are same, or simply I can say that elements of the set A and B are same. That's equal sets. Equal sets. Indirectly I can say in a very basic definition that A and B are the equal sets. That's it. So if A and B are the equal sets, then the total number of the bijections, 1 and onto functions, the total number of the 1 and onto functions from the set A to the set B is always n of A factorial. N of A factorial. That is total number of the elements of the A. See, n of A and n of B, there is no such big difference. N of A factorial, or either I can say n of B factorial, because already we have described that n of A and n of B are same. Therefore, either the formula can be n of A factorial or n of B factorial, or I can say like this. I can keep equals to also, because both represent the same. N of A equals to n of B. Total number of elements of the set A and B are same. Then the total number of the bijections will be n of A factorial. 16th one. So as we know that there are composition of the functions. So the best example is you can consider the example of gift. In some functions there are some gifts which contains box, a big box. If you open that, there is another box. If you again open that, you get another box, and likewise you get the boxes in between. You get the boxes as you keep on opening the boxes till you get the gift inside, which may be a surprise. This may be a small fun in the function. So what are those boxes? When you open the box one, when you open the first box, you are going to get the second box, and no doubt here the second box is inside the first box. And as you open the second box, you get the third box, and the story continues till the end. It means here the first box as you open, it contains second box, it contains third box, and so on. Here I can say mathematically that the box 1, the box 2, and the box 3, the box 1, box 2 and box 3 here, I can say that the 3 boxes are composed here. The box 2 is composed with the box 1, box 3 is composed with the box 2. That leads to the definition of composition of the function. Suppose there are two functions, f of x and g of x. Suppose that there are two functions, f of x and g of x. I say that the g of x, I can say that if g of x is composed in f, if g of x is composed in f, then I can say that f of g of x exists. Okay, so if f of x and g of x are the any two functions, then f of g of x is called composition of the functions, provided there exist a condition that the entire function g of x will act like element which act like the element which can be further substituted to the each variable in the given function f. Each variable in the given function f. For example, if f of x is equals to x square plus x, if f of x equals to x square plus x and g of x is equals to x plus 1, then the f of g of x can be written as f as it is g of x is x plus 1. Now as I said that the entire function g will be taken as an element. Look at the beauty of the definition. The entire function g will be taken as an element which can be substituted later on to the each variable present in the given f of x if g of x is composed with f. In other case, if f is composed with g, then the entire function f of x will be acting as an element in each variable x in the g of x, right? Okay, so f of x plus 1, it means the x plus 1 has to be substituted to the each x in the given f of x. That is x square plus 1, x will be replaced by x plus 1, so x plus 1 whole square. Next, the second, there is another x, then again the x is replaced by x plus 1. You can see that the x plus 1 whole square plus x plus 1 will be the composition of the g of x in the f of x. The composition of the g of x in the f of x. So one more example I would have. So one more example is, you can see that if f of x is 1 plus x square and g of x is 2x, g of x is 2x, then g of f of x will be, the g of f of x will be, the function g outside as it is, f of x will be 1 plus x square, right? 1 plus x square. Now you can see here that the entire 1 plus x square will be acting as an element of the g. It means 1 plus x square has to be substituted for each x in the g. Substitute 2 as it is, g of x, look at the g of x contains 2x, 2 as it is, x stands for 1 plus x square, 1 plus x square, you can see. So 2 times 1 plus x square, that is equals to 2 into 1 is 2 into x square is 2x square. So this is called composition of the f in the g, and indirectly I can write it as f of g is called composition of the g in f, g of f is called composition of the g, composition of the f in the function g, okay. Students, so there are more informations given here on the board. You can read it down. You can take a snap of this also. That helps you for changing the more problems in CET, right? So this is more than enough information given here. So this is basically what we learned today is the definition of the functions, the universal relation between the functions, universal relation between the two pair of sets, empty relation between the pair of sets, and the relations, reflexive relations, symmetric relations, and transitive relations. After that, the relation lead to the function, one function, onto function. After leading all these one and onto function, one and onto function, which is a bijective relation, and after that, in the last we studied the inverse of the function and the composition of the function. Still we can get the more points of the CET. You can go through these ones to get the more. Thank you.